All right, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to Around the Bases, Wednesday, February 22nd, 2023. Almost forgot what show we was doing there for a second.
It's
but
okay because apparently Dustin has forgotten his common sense. Already spoke Lindsey Scott Jr. for MVP over there. I don't know what kind of world we were living in over there, Dustin, but leave the crack cocaine alone. No offense. I apologize. And if anybody out there is a cocaine user, please, I fully support you getting help.
okay, what a way. But joined by Shay McLevin and Dustin Reese. How's it going, guys?
Mother Nature at its finest in Wisconsin. 14 inches of snow on the way.
It's funny. You're getting 14 inches of snow, and I'm getting a heat wave like there's no tomorrow. What kind of world are we living in? It's so weird how I'm telling you, man. This weather for this year alone, they say it's supposed to be extremely erratic, and they are not lying with everything that's gone up with the north, and I think all these blizzards and everything that they're incurring. It's crazy to me.
Mother Nature just needs to get laid.
She needs to do something because I'm telling you, man, you're getting all the cold and I'm getting all the heat, and I can't find a comparable in between.
Jay, you're getting in trouble already this morning.
I simply promoted people to live a healthy lifestyle. That's all I promoted. I don't know what we're talking
about. It's in the 40s here right now. I don't know what it's supposed to get to today, but it's raining like a raining cats and dogs outside. Let's say that. Oh man.
Yes, sir, Frankie. I will be professional. I apologize to you. I apologize to ASAP Network. I apologize to the viewers for my moment of carelessness.
We are just a couple days away from our first spring training games of the year.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And you know what? You know how I know this is already getting off to a good start? Because Michael Brantley is still healthy. And I tell you, man, if I get a good, healthy Michael Brantley this year, I am going to be ecstatic because that's going to then alleviate some of the burden off Alvarez in that left field spot. And that's really what I was concerned the most about because we missed out on a couple of really, I thought, key guys. We missed out on, and Dustin, I might need your help on this. The guy that's out there with the Yankees that was on the that was out there as a free agent that they signed, and then the Rocket Astros had it started with a B. What was his name? Telly or
Benintendi?
Benintendi. Thank you. I knew you'd have the answer. Benintendi. We missed out on Benintendi, which I really was hoping we would get, and we missed out on him. So I was really kind of nervous about that left field spot. And when we're in Houston, it's okay because we got the short porch, and Alvarez doesn't have to go as far. But Dustin, a lot of these fields don't have that short porch, and I don't think Alvarez is going to have a good enough time covering all that ground. And I think that's where Brantley would be, or is going to be, extremely effective.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm definitely glad about that. Gonzo, man, anything out there in the Reds organization that you think is going to be exciting this year at all? Other than maybe
I don't know. Yeah, I think our pitching staff is going to be pretty good. We have some good young guys with Lodolo and Hunter Green. Hopefully they don't do with Hunter Green what Dustin says they're going to do, but it won't surprise me because they've done it with everybody else that they've had that can throw. But in Ashcraft, I think he had a good rookie season last year. So I think our starting pitching is going to be pretty good this year. It's our relief pitching that worries me. And then where are we going to produce runs from? Because our bats, we got rid of most of our bats last year and we really didn't replace a whole lot of them. And I'm interested to see how Jonathan India looks this year. He had a great rookie season and had a sophomore slump last year. Plus he dealt with some injuries last year. Hopefully he can bounce back and have another good year this year. And probably going to be one of my favorite players last year with Joey Votto. So it'll be kind of fun. Hopefully he can stay healthy and have a good year. But I figure this might be his last season.
I was going to ask you that. Votto's been in the league a really, really long time. How much longer do you think he has before, he's done? And you think next year is going to be his last season?
I think this year's probably going to be it. He might play another year or two, but I hope he finishes his career with the Reds. I really do, because it's just sad that we haven't been able to put a team together where he could be on a winning team consistently. Because I think Votto. I mean, there was years, and I know Dustin will say the same thing. There was years he was in the MVP conversation for multiple years. Not even being on a great.
I remember Votto. Votto's an extremely good player. Even down in Houston, I know about Votto, so I agree with you.
He had one of the best eyes at the plate. I mean, dude
he still does, though.
Yeah, he does. That's where I think he could play.
The eyes never leave you. The power may leave you, but
if he just go to maybe like a DH role, I think he could even play longer. But
right,
what the Reds decide to do with him as well.
That's interesting.
Yeah, can I get back to what I was saying about kind of my point on Hunter Green the other day?
Yeah.
When you look at Hunter Green last year, the guy averaged 98.4 on his fastball, which was the highest average fastball velocity last year in Major League Baseball. And there was several times that he was touching 102, 103. But if you look at how his trajectory went, first time through the lineup, so roughly the first 2 innings, his ERA was a 2.25. Second time through the lineup, his ERA was an even 4. And then third time through the lineup, his ERA was almost a 6. So you were getting a lot out of him those first 2 innings. But after the first 2 innings is kind of when Hunter Green started to fall apart. You saw the same thing with Aroldis Chapman. When Aroldis Chapman was in the minor leagues, you could get a good 3 innings out of him. But as soon as you got to that 4th inning, he started to fall apart, which is why the Reds eventually moved him to that closer role, because they wanted to maximize that fastball. They wanted to maximize what they could get out of him in those short spurts, which is why I think they'll do the same thing to Green, because if you look at the Reds farm system right now, Brandon Williamson is a left-handed pitcher, number 6 prospect in the system. Chase Petty's a right-handed pitcher, number 9 in the system. Andrew Abbott's a left-handed pitcher, number 10 in the system. And Connor Phillips is a right-handed pitcher, number 11 in the system. So 4 of their top 11 prospects are all pitchers. All of them are going to be in Double A. All of them are going to be in Double A or Triple A this year.
Yeah.
Then you still have Graham Ashcraft. You still have TJ Antoine, who's hurt right now, but he'll be back. So I could see Hunter Green staying in the rotation this year. But when you start getting some of these AAA guys coming up next year, is I think when they make the move to put him at closer.
Yeah, I can see him maybe doing it next year. I agree with that. And you also have the Lodolo that'll probably in the rotation this year. That's what I said. I think our pitching, we're getting starting pitching. We got our relief pitching. We got a pretty good closer in Diaz. He was rookie last year. I can't think of his first name off the top of my head right now, but it's the Diaz from the is it the Mets brother?
Yeah.
I don't know why his first name, but
isn't it Alexis Diaz?
Yes. And he pitched good last year as a rookie in that closer spot. So if you move Green to close as a reliever next year,
if you move Green to the closer, you just drop Diaz to the 8th inning.
Yeah, as I'm saying, have him as a setup, and I mean that would really help our relief pitching. I know from everything I'm hearing, the Reds think they're really going to be competitive in 2024. So I think that's like Dustin was alluding to with all the pitching, most of them being in Double A and Triple A this season. They think that they're going to move up, and so the next season. But you can have all that pitching. Now we got to fill the rest of our roster out and be able to score some runs.
I mean, you will when Ellie De La Cruz comes up.
Yep. I'm looking forward to that too.
Ellie De La Cruz might even be up at some point this year if he does anything. If he does anything close to what he did last year, he'll be called up at some point this year.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think maybe second half of the season he might be up this year. He's wearing Eric Davis's old number in spring training.
Dustin, you're a baseball guy, man. You kind of know these guys. You pick these weird guys like out of Incarnate Ward and all this craziness. I'm surprised you really haven't said anything to me at all about the Astros with Hunter Brown that made a 7-game appearance in the World Series title run that they did this year, and who probably I think is going to have a significant role coming up, especially with the departure of Verlander to the Mets. I think this kid is the next guy up. He was taken at the 166th pick in the draft, and I will tell you, man, in the 2022 season, he gave you 7 games, 2 wins, 0 losses, with a .89 ERA, 20 innings pitched, 22 strikeouts, and a WHIP of 1.08. But yet you fail to not talk about it.
Because I think he's going to be kind of in a similar situation to Ellie De La Cruz, where he's going to be more of a second half guy. Because even without Verlander, Houston still has tons of options in that rotation. They have Christian Javier yet. They still have Framber Valdez, Lance McCullers. I mean, they have 3-4 options right now that they're going to count on, and I think Hunter Brown is going to make.
They got what? They got 5 right now that I know of. Like you said, all the ones you named, plus Garcia and Urquidy. So yeah, it's going to be difficult. I agree with you for him to break the rotation, but at some point, I think he does break it.
Urquidy to me is the one to watch, mainly because you heard his name brought up in trade conversations last year,
right?
And it wasn't because of his performance. It was a situation where Houston had so much starting pitching, they needed help in other areas, and his name was the name that came up. And I can see that happening again.
Very true.
I can see that happening again this year, whether it's for a relief arm, whether it's for maybe getting more depth at first base behind Jose Abreu, where Jose Urquidy's name is thrown out at the deadline again. Houston ends up getting like a backup first baseman or ends up getting a couple bullpen arms for him, and that's when you see Hunter Brown get slotted into the number 5 spot.
I think the bullpen arms would, in my opinion, would be probably the most significant, because I still think you go get Gurriel at a very cheap price, and you put him there as a backup for one season. I think because he's 38, he'll be 39. I think he's still got good defensiveness to him. I think you pick him on the cheap, and you put it behind Abreu for any kind of issues that maybe Abreu needs a day off, whatever, for rest. You can slot in, Gurriel in there perfectly just fine. So I agree with you. I think you could use Urquidy as trade bait for relief arms,
or even catcher help behind Maldonado.
I think that's the biggest need, honestly. Maldonado. We didn't sign Vasquez, which I don't understand why. They didn't go after Murphy. I don't understand why. When you got an aging Maldonado and you got Corey Lee and this other dude Diaz as young guys, coming up, I get it, but still, man. The Vasquez thing, I understand let go of Mancini. I was cool with that. I was not okay with them not picking up Vasquez, especially how well he did behind the plate for the Astros in relief of Maldonado. I don't understand it.
Yeah, and that's happened with so many teams now too, where you have a guy that has done very well with your team for a year, 2 years, whatever, and yet you don't pick up their option, whether it's because of the cost, whether it's because of in Vasquez's situation, you re-sign him to like a 3-year deal, like he got from Minnesota. He might have even gotten 4 years from Minnesota, but you sign him to an extension like that, he's going to be expected to start a minimum 90 games behind the plate. But the problem is pitchers love Maldonado. They love the way he calls the game. They love his defensive skills behind the plate. They love his cannon that he has behind the plate. So essentially you sign Vasquez back, you're really signing him for no reason because he's not going to start as much as you want. And if you kind of look at the Astros system right now, Yainer Diaz is their number 3 prospect, and he's a catcher. Corey Lee, like you mentioned, is the number 7 prospect at a catcher. So they have 2 prospects lined up that can slide over and either back up Maldonado this year or pretty much dethrone him next year. And even going back to the first base conversation with Gurriel, Diaz is also a third baseman. He's a first baseman. He's also played plenty of games at first base. So Houston, to me, I think, is in a position where Gurriel being 38, 39, did it make sense to bring him back because your number 3 prospect is a first baseman? You're going to want to.
I get what you're saying. The problem with all 3 of the guys you mentioned is they do on the defensive side of the ball, they're phenomenal. No doubt about it. They're great. The problem I have with all three of those guys is none of those three are hitting above 2.
Yep. And that's kind of the
That's
thing
the problem I have.
that's the thing though too. At some point you just got to take the training wheels off and be like, it's your turn to show what you can do. It's your turn to show us that you deserve to be a top prospect. If you fail, you fail. If you fail, you fail. If you don't, so be it. And I think that's kind of the situation that Houston got in with Gurriel. Like, Gurriel meant a lot to that team. He brought a lot to that team for the last 4 or 5 years. But it got to the point now where he's going on 39 years old, and you have several guys that can play that same position that he can, better defensively than what he can right now. And at some point, you just got to take the training wheels off and see what they can do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you because you don't know what you have until you put them in the fire. And you're not going to get better without repetitions. Honestly, that's like a quarterback sitting on the sideline. He's not ever going to get better, or you're not going to see his experience grow as long as he's carrying a clipboard. So, yeah, I understand what you're saying with that. What a time to be alive. So, out of all the big contracts that we saw over the offseason, who do you think is under the most pressure?
Of all the big contracts that were signed?
Yes. Like, who do you think is under the most pressure to perform or live up to their contract?
Carlos Correa, and it's not even close.
I agree with that.
The guy failed 2 physicals from 2 separate teams, and yet he still got a lengthy contract for close to what he was looking for, but not quite. He needs to go out there and show that his leg is fine. He needs to go out there and show that that leg is going to hold up the entire duration of that contract. And if he doesn't, then the Giants and the Mets have dodged a huge bullet.
I agree with that. I also feel like Aaron Judge should feel some pressure to live up to his contract, even though he had 62 home runs. And that's great and all. But he struck out a hell of a lot. And I don't like that whole thing with him, the way he strikes out. I don't like the fact that he can't hit the ball when it's low and away or low and in. I don't like that. I feel like the Astros really, and I'm just using as an example because that's what I watch the most. I'm sure the other pitchers out there obviously learned this as well with him, that if you want to take out Aaron Judge, all you got to do is pitch him low. I swear to God, he'll either hit a ground ball or he'll hit a pop out or he'll strike out. He cannot. He struggles with low balls
because he's 6 foot. Because he's 6'10". You can't get down.
That's my problem.
You can't get down to a low.
Is that my problem?
No, but I'm just saying that's why he struggles, and that's honestly why he is one of the better high pitchers, one of the better high ball hitters in baseball. Is because
all you gotta do is don't give him the high ball, give him the low ball.
Yeah, and there's really not much he can do to adjust to a low pitch because he's too tall. There's not much he can really do to get down to a pitch like that unless he wants to swing on his knees. Because you can't – your bat has to be within a certain inch range. So it's not like he can just go and grab a 42-inch bat and say, I'm going to start swinging this one instead. He has to use a bat that's 38
I swear to God, if I'm the pitching coach for my team, if one of my pitchers even thinks about giving him a ball that's anywhere near the hip or higher, I'm going to pull his ass right there on the spot. You do not ever pitch Aaron Judge above the hip.
And what you said about Aaron Judge and all that pressure,
just a mistake.
And what you said with Aaron Judge and having the pressure on him, I think he had the most pressure on him last year. Just because he has been one of those guys that everyone knew that's the kind of player he could be. But the only issue with him was he could not stay healthy. And last year was the first time he played more than 120 games in a season. I think last year he had more pressure on him than he does this year because now it's like, well, we know he can do that, but no one's going to expect him to hit 63 homers in a season every single year. So even if he has 50 home runs this year, they're not going to look at it and be like, oh, he had a terrible season. No one's going to expect him to hit 60 home runs every single year. So even if he drops down to 50, it's still going to be a good season for him.
And Jay, strikeouts don't mean as much to these major league teams as it used to. It's all about home runs anymore. But
that may be true. That may be true.
Do you think Aaron Judge will be anywhere close to 60 home runs this season?
I don't think he'll get close to 60 again, but I think 50 is.
maybe 40,
I think 50 is what he's
45?
gonna. I think he'll be in the 50 range as long as he plays 130, 140 games a year, he should be able to hit 50 homers, no problem.
What? Yeah, but Jay, I agree with you. What Judge has to get better at is laying off that low pitch.
Yeah,
because he's not going
he's
to
not
hit
going to be able. He's not going to be able to hit it, and he's not going to be able to foul it off. So it's either you're going to swing and miss at it, or you're just going to have to get that discipline to not swing at it. Because if you're not swinging at it, then pitchers don't have a choice but to come into his wheelhouse. Then.
But what if the pitch is low but still in the strike zone? You can strike him out that way too, because you know he's not going to swing at it.
And then you just got to tip your hat to the pitcher and be like, "Good pitch."
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you too. I just think when I see Aaron Judge, truthfully, I know y'all guys are gonna say, "Oh, Jason's just hating on him." I'm not impressed with a guy like him. I really don't want him on my team. I would much rather have a Jordan Alvarez. I would. I think. No, I'm serious. I'm not impressed with Aaron Judge. I'm sorry. Has he been to the World Series lately? Has he?
Yeah, but you
okay,
can't.
So what are we impressed by Aaron freaking Judge?
But Jay, you can't just say you have to make it to the World Series to be impressed.
Damn right you do. You're Aaron freaking Judge. That's the expectation.
There's a lot of players that are impressive and have great seasons that don't make it to a World Series every year.
If your on base percentage such supports that, you're a great player, no doubt about it. Aaron Judge has a shitty on base percentage.
Okay, if you want to go by on base percentage, I'll give you that. But you can't just say because he's never made it to a World Series.
Look, we can sit here and we can go through all the numbers of how Aaron Judge doesn't impress me. I mean, literally, we can spend a whole show on Aaron Judge doesn't impress me.
No, I'm saying, yeah, if you want to go by numbers, that's fine. But you can't just say because he's never made it to a World Series that he's not impressed.
Oh, no. When I say the World Series, I'm giving you the cherry on the top. If you want the ice cream and the whipped cream and the sprinkles, I'll be happy to give that. If you want the cone as well, I'll give you the cone. Hell, it's chocolate dipped in failure.
Oh no, he had I thought he had a pretty impressive season last year.
He had 62 freaking home runs. Okay, what they freaking do? I hope you like that 62 home runs sitting in Cancun in the couch. It's still a damn team sport. My point is this. From an individual standpoint, yes, 62 looks nice. But what it does for your team when you're not on base or your lower on-base percentage isn't there, come on, man. Come on. At what point we know it's still a team sport. And that's why the Yankees or teams like the Yankees don't get to the World Series. That's why they're 0-4 in the playoffs and a first-round exit. That's not impressive to me.
It wasn't all because of Judge, though. That's because of pitching.
No, it's not all because of Judge. I'm not putting it all on him.
Where would they have been?
He is a part of that.
Yeah, but where would they have been out without Judge? They'd have been in a lot worse situation as well.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I'll give you that. But
and I'm not a Yankees fan or a big Aaron Judge fan. Well, I did think he had a impressive season last year, but he finally stayed healthy. AP had
you know what? I actually have a liking for the Yankees. I don't hate the Yankees. When I think of America, when it comes to sports, I think of the Yankees as baseball representing the U.S. I think of the Cowboys. I know you're going to hate me on that, but I think the Cowboys because it's got the nice star and it looks like an American team. And I think of a team like the Lakers in basketball. You know, I mean, there are certain teams in sports that I think are America-type teams, and those are the America-type teams. A random question. What MLB rule that change you like and what rule you want to see change in the future? Oh, that's a good one. I'd have to ponder that one. Dustin, you're pretty well versed in all the rules, man. What do you think?
I mean, the one I like the most is the pitch clock. Because now you're actually forcing hitters to be ready in the batter's box instead of kind of playing I'm not ready, so I'm going to call time quick and reset my batting gloves and reset my batting tape here, and vice versa. A pitcher can't just kind of do the old Trevor Bauer approach where he'll stare at a hitter for like 30 seconds and not throw the pitch, and then the hitter kind of calls time at the end of it. So that I'm happy with it because I want to see how it affects guys like you, Darvish. I want to see how it affects guys like Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, Jacob DeGrom, and a lot of these guys that are slower workers that have been slower workers for so long. I want to see how their performance changes from it, knowing that they don't have that kind of time to think about it. And I want to see if pitchers and catchers have a plan going in where they discuss like a series of 5 pitches that they want to throw. So instead of having a sign come down every pitch, a pitcher already knows in his head, like, these are the 5 pitches that I'm going to throw first. Once I get through this sequence, then he'll throw another series of signs out there and go with some more things to kind of maybe speed things up a little bit. But the rule change that needs to happen is the ghost runner on second base in extra innings. And I can understand the thought process behind putting a ghost runner on base, which if that's what you want to do, that's fine, but take him off of second base and put him on first. Don't immediately put him on second base just because one hit and then the run scores 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Hey, real quick, Frankie said I'm giving all the hate on the Yankees. Look, no, I'm putting hate on Aaron Judge. I actually, and I think everybody on this panel knows that I just clearly said that I thought I liked the Yankees and that I think that they're America's team. So, Frankie, if you're gonna give me all the hate, remember the love that I gave them as well. Come on now, let's be unbiased a little bit. But I did want to kind of bring up this. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. That comment.
Yeah, I was going to bring.
Yeah, that's amazing. We appreciate that.
Yes, we appreciate that. Thanks for joining us. And Dustin, I was going to ask you this because you brought up the pitch clock, which I like the rule, but you said you wanted to see how it affected some of the pitchers that are slower. Do you think it'll affect pitchers like Wade Miley and some of the guys that speed
not
up?
at all.
Well, I don't know about them, but what I'm saying is because now batters are going to have to be more prepared to be ready quicker. Do you think that would have any effect?
No, I think that actually favors the pitchers in that regard too, just because even when you look at how spring training works, when spring training starts, pitchers are always ahead of the hitters.
Yes.
The first 2 weeks of the season because they report to camp a week sooner. They kind of get the throwing programs and everything kind of under their belt before the hitters and the rest of the team shows up. So pitchers are typically ahead of hitters no matter what. So you give a pitch clock to speed up a pitcher, it's not going to affect the pitcher that works quick. That pitcher that works quick is ones that don't even care about the pitch clock because they're ready to go the moment that ball comes back into the glove. And even if a hitter has to think quicker than they normally do, they're still going to have to guess the pitch that's coming, whether they're waiting 15, 20 seconds or 5 seconds to see it.
And that's what I was going to ask you, too. Because of this pitch clock now, how many times are they allowed to step out of the box before it's a penalty? Because isn't there a rule now where they put that in place where they can only step out of the box, I think, maybe one time?
I think it's once per at bat.
And it has to be before a certain time in the pitch clock.
It has to be before the pitch clock is to 10 seconds.
Yeah, so that's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out.
And even at that, the umpire does not have to grant it either.
Yeah.
That's true. You know what? The one thing that I like and don't like is the shift. As we all know, the Astros live and die by this, or have lived and died by this shift. Now that they're taking the shift away, I think it's going to affect the Astros defensively big time. But I also like the taking the shift away because I think for batters like Kyle Tucker that are more contact hitters, it's really going to boost up their average and their on-base percentage. So I think the shift for the Astros specifically is going to be a catch-22, right? It's going to be good and bad, both of them. So it's going to be interesting this season to see how the Astros adjust to not having that comfort zone of the defense, of the shift on the defense.
And that was the other rule change that I'm actually happy with, and that is eliminating the shift. And at first I wasn't for it because I said as a major league hitter, you should be able to hit the ball the other way and kind of adjust to the way the defense.
I always said that. I don't know why professional athletes can't do that.
I kind of changed my mind then after listening to an interview with Cody Bellinger last night. And Cody Bellinger made a great point where your entire baseball career, high school, elementary school, college, grade school, all the way up, you hit a line drive smack dab pretty much right at the pitcher's face and up the middle, That's a base hit.
Yep.
Now, you may hit a line drive straight up the middle past the pitcher's face. You have a shortstop or a third baseman standing there, and that's not a base hit. You go back to high school, elementary school, and you hit like a 135, 140 foot kind of lazy fly ball into the outfield. That's a base hit. Now you have a second baseman standing 40, 50 feet into the outfield where that's not a hit anymore. So, kind of after listening to that interview by Cody Bellinger, I kind of agreed with getting rid of the shift because I'm like, he's right. The hits that you see these players getting into when the shift is played would be hits in high school. They would be hits in college. They would be hits at every single level that you've ever played baseball at, except for the major leagues. And that's why you've seen averages plummet so much the last 5-6 years. Granted, yes, strikeouts play a big part in that, but so does the shift because now 50% of the hits that people are typically getting are no longer hits because of where these players are lining up in the shift.
Yeah. And with the new shift rule, they can shift some, but they gotta stay in the dirt, right?
Yeah, and you have to have two people on each side of the base.
Yeah.
So even if you
can
wanted to
only
shift,
go over,
you can't.
only go over to like
you can't overshift.
you can only go over like right by the second base bag. You can't go on the other side. And I felt the same way as Dustin. I was against it because I was like, you guys, you're a major league player. You hit the ball the other way. But when you hear some of the interviews and even watching some of it, you'll see.
Yeah, and then Cody even what's his name
get taken away. So
yeah, his what's his name that just retired, or David Ortiz, the guy that's as a Hall of Famer, even said the same thing. He's like, even if I would want to try to hit a ball the other way now to avoid that shift, there's no way I could when you look at how fast and how hard pitchers throw now, how much more those pitches move now compared to what they did even 10 years ago. It's almost impossible to square up a baseball and hit it where you want to hit it now. It's at the point now where a hitter is just swinging just to make contact. It's almost impossible for a hitter to be like, I'm going to just go like this and drive it to right field. I'm going to go like this and drive it to left field because the pitchers have so much more movement now that you're lucky just to square it up.
Yeah, and the spin rate on the ball now.
So even with the shift being like how it is, you could try to hit the ball the opposite way, and you're probably still not going to square it up enough to do anything with it.
Yeah, and AP asked if I thought that Judge was a team player or all about himself. I think, to Frankie's point, I think Aaron Judge is a team player. I think if he was all about himself, he would actually develop time on his hitting game to not be, so undisciplined at the plate, to always go after the low balls that he knows damn good well he can't hit. So if he was about himself, he would actually improve his game. So I do think he's more of a team player. I didn't like that answer, did you, Frankie? No, but at the same time, I feel like the NBA changed the way they call fouls. The game itself has changed since back in the day. Since Michael Jordan, the whole game has changed. It has shifted in a direction, and the players have adapted, and the players have shifted with it. Same thing with the football. Rules in football are changed. The way what you can and cannot do with the quarterback, the kicker, this, that, and the other. Games change, games evolve, games do everything. I feel like with baseball, it hasn't necessarily gone that specific direction. Yes, they've changed a few rules, but the players themselves have not necessarily changed with that. And I feel like you say, well, there's a second baseman there, there's this, that, and the other. I think you should be allowed to have this shift. And I think baseball players should evolve, and their way they hit the ball should evolve, and they should be able to pull the ball to the opposite direction to beat the shift. And the fact that baseball couldn't do that shows me a lack of baseball that me personally, I don't like. I feel like they're professional athletes are making all this money. They should learn how to hit opposite. The fact that they didn't do that and baseball had to take the shift away because of that, it clearly says something about the future of baseball and the way it's going.
Yeah.
Or the lack of adaptability of baseball.
I don't think it's a lack of adaptability.
Oh, it's a lack, because if there was an adaptability, they'd be hitting the ball opposite, wouldn't they?
But you got to remember, how many times has Major League Baseball changed baseballs?
Wait a minute. Are you going to tell me that the fact that I can't hit the ball opposite because the size of the damn ball you gave me, is that really the direction that you want to go with this?
Not just the size of the
No,
ball.
it's just
The way the
if
balls
you
are
listen
made
to a
now,
lot,
the
if you
pitchers can
listen
get
to
more
a lot
spin
of,
on 'em.
if you listen to a lot of hitters, like hitters who've always hit above 300 for most of their career, and all of a sudden now you see them hitting in the 260, 270 range, they can tell the difference of a ball just by the way it comes off of a bat.
Okay, so that by that though, you're saying that it's technically impossible. Which I mean, if that's what it is, that's what it is.
Because
It's
even if you try to
impossible
go,
for
even if you
baseball
try to
players to
go,
adapt.
even if you try to go the opposite way and beat the shift, there's a certain baseball that they used in minor league baseball last year that has less friction on it. So when you make contact, it has a higher exit velocity and it gets to the fielders quicker. But
And
then
that's what I'm
major
saying.
league,
So you're saying that MLB themselves are making the ball such that it's preventing
yep,
players from being able to adapt.
which is why the spin rates are higher for pitchers because they use a different material than what the minor league baseball does. And the
Then why
base,
are we talking about that? Why is that not more of a topic?
it is, it has been, it has been a topic for years because they changed the baseball three separate times last year. Early in the season, you had hitters complaining that the ball was different because the offensive numbers were so low the first 2 months of the year. And then all of a sudden, you get to about June and July, pitchers were complaining about the baseball last year because they said they couldn't grip it the way they normally gripped it. So then you get into August and September, and then there's another style baseball that they brought into the equation last year. Baseball changed 3 times last year in terms of the balls they used. And everyone now is starting to realize like what the baseball feels like when it changes. And Major League Baseball uses a different material than the minor, so even if you try to go the opposite way, the material they use has less friction on the bat, so even if you make contact, it's like you're hitting a wiffle ball. And it's not going anywhere, even if you think it is going to go somewhere.
And if they're going, and I think
I understand that, and that's a good explanation. I appreciate that. That's
Jay,
a lot more than I thought.
Jay, I think for players to be able to adapt, they need to. Baseball needs to use the same baseball in minor league and in major league, and even in like college, high school. You need to be using the same baseball, so then you know what that baseball does when you hit it a certain way. Then
listen, I do agree with what you're saying. And again, I appreciate the knowledge that Stat Guy brought today because I did not realize how much that they have changed that in baseball. And again, if that's the case, and I believe it scientifically sounds like the case, then Major League Baseball themselves are the ones that are preventing the game from adapting. And now you got to put the shift back because they're doing things to the ball. So I get that. Appreciate it.
And I don't know if you remember this, but Justin Verlander.
Hold on. Just hold on. Frankie, what I'm not going to let you do is take something out of complete craziness. Now, Frankie, we're all being professional here. I need you to be professional in the comments.
Might as well use softballs.
Okay, Dustin, I apologize for Frankie's rudeness. Continue.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember this, but Justin Verlander has called out Major League Baseball 3 times already. Because one start he had a specific baseball, and then the very next time he took the ball, it was a completely different baseball. He went from striking out.
You know that. Is it the way it feels in the hand? Yep. Is it the weight? Is it the texture?
It's the texture of the stitching, and it's the texture of the material on the baseball. He goes from one start where he goes 8 innings, gives up 2 hits, and strikes out 13, and then all of a sudden his next start he goes 1 inning, gives up 5 runs. And he came right out after the game, said this was not the same type of baseball that I had in my previous start.
It can be the same.
Right, because the ball's going to move by basically the way it's made. And that will affect when it drops or when it doesn't drop.
The spin rate's going to be slower, so it's not going to get the break that it normally gets, or the spin rate's going to be faster with a different kind of ball, and you're going to get more break than what you typically get. And that's the same thing the hitters complain about. They can tell when a pitcher has a different style of baseball because of the spin rate on it and the amount of break that ball gets. And the more break that they have, that's kind of when that spin rate comes into play. And then when you see pitchers starting to not get the same kind of spin rate on it, that's when you go to that ball that is more offensive-minded.
Yeah, baseball needs to make a they need to decide what ball they're going to use and stick with it, and then use it for all levels. especially minor league and major league. I think you should use it for college, try to use it for college, and maybe even high school as well. I know little league and stuff they sometimes use different kinds of balls and stuff, but at least you start getting from college on, I would think you'd want that baseball to be the same, and then I think you could see players adapt more because you're used to what's coming at you. It's not something different all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's interesting. I didn't, again, man, I learn something every time I come on these shows with you guys. I did not realize stitching, texture, weight. I mean, I knew they were using different kinds of baseballs. I I possess some time out. It'd be all right.
I looked down and it said Frankie was blocked for 5 minutes. Like, what the hell? What the hell?
Hey, sometimes you got to put a man in timeout. It's all right. Frankie's a resilient person. He'll be fine. But no, honestly, I knew they had 3 different kinds of baseballs. I remember the story about that. I just didn't realize, the textures and the stitching and the weight, was such a dramatic difference that it affected those kinds of things. Interesting.
Yeah, unlike football and like basketball and hockey and things like that, baseball is a sport of repetition. And like all these pitchers and all these hitters go through so many reps in spring training. They go through so many reps in pregame that if anything is different, even by like the slightest change, they will know immediately when something is different. Especially when it comes to pitchers, like when they have their bullpen sessions like the day before, like, and you're using that type of ball for your bullpen session, you're going to know if that baseball is a different baseball when you get onto the mound the next time to take that first pitch.
Yeah, because in their bullpen sessions now, they are monitoring the spin rate and all that stuff.
Yeah, and they use the same, like for bullpen sessions, they use the same ball that they're using in a game. But if you use the ball that was used on Tuesday on your bullpen session, and then all of a sudden Thursday comes and you're starting, and you have a different kind of baseball on that Thursday, you're gonna know what the difference is and exactly what is different about that baseball.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the same thing with a hitter too. Like a hitter gets so much repetition in cages. They get so much repetition with like VR and videos and analytics that they're gonna know what kind of a baseball they are using based on how it comes off the bat, based on how it sounds when it comes off the bat, and based on how it travels. They're gonna know like if the ball is the same or if it's different based on just all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Frankie says is at the Ash. I'm pretty sure there's other players out there that are complaining outside of just the Astros. I would imagine. I can't imagine Verlander being the only pitcher that has issue with the baseballs.
No, there's been a lot of them, but Verlander's been the only one that's been really vocal about it because he was kind of the one that initially brought it to the focus back in 2018.
Didn't Bauer complain about it some back?
No, Bauer complained about the whole sticky stuff when that came down because he was saying everybody uses it or whatever. But Garrett Cole from the Yankees has that issue with the baseball. And he said pretty much when Verlander complained about it last year, the next couple starts that Garrett Cole had were some of the worst starts he ever had. And he came right out and said they got to stop changing the baseball because how are we as pitchers supposed to pitch if we have a different ball every time we take the mound? We have to grip it differently every single time. And if you have to grip a baseball differently and try to spin it a different way, you're asking for more arm injuries. You're asking for more wrist injuries because you're so used to gripping a baseball a certain way and spinning it a certain way. If you have a ball that you can't grip and spin that way and you're forced to grip it a different way, you're asking for more arm injuries.
And you're asking for more hit batters.
Yeah.
Because the pitcher's not.
But is that a tactic that teams can use against other pitchers, to break them to where they can't be as effective as they are against their own team? You know what I'm saying? Could that be a defensive tactic for the home team? Because I'm assuming the home team is the one that supplies the baseballs.
Oh, umpires do.
The umpires supply the baseballs.
Major League Baseball supplies the baseballs, and then the umpires are the one that bring it out to the game. The baseball is stored at the home ballpark because that's where the game is being played, but Major League Baseball is the one that sends the baseballs in. Every series, I believe, every series, I think the teams get 100 baseballs for
And
every
correct me
series.
if I'm wrong. Don't they put the baseballs like in a humidor or something of that nature to
Mhm.
keep the moisture away from the ball? And I'm guessing that what does that do? That keeps the ball from being a certain weight because it retains water.
It retains water, it keeps the ball from drying out to become lighter, and it just keeps everything the way they want it. The stitching, the material, the rubber bands on the inside, it keeps everything the way they want it to be. And that's what I said. If you alter a baseball even the slightest, a hitter and a pitcher is going to know because those baseballs are so chemically intact and chemically inclined that any sort of modification to that is going to throw the chemical imbalance off.
Yeah, you'll see a different. You can see a different way in the way the ball flies off the bat
Yeah.
and every. I mean,
Let me ask you a question, Ty Guy. Have you ever been at home and just said, you know what? I've seen that ball go to the left. It should have gone to the right. I believe it. That ball is not the right ball.
I've seen watching at home. Well, not
Because to
necessarily,
me, I watch
not
it and
necessarily, not
maybe my
necessarily.
eyes suck.
I've seen if you watch the game at home, you can tell when a baseball is different watching a hitter. Because if you get a hanging curveball and you absolutely barrel the crap out of that baseball and that thing flies 350 feet, there's no way in heck that ball should not be out of the ballpark.
Right.
But if you go watch a baseball game in person, that's when you can tell a different ball is being used by a pitcher because you can see just the way the ball comes out of the pitcher's hand and just by the break that it has, that it's a different kind of ball than what was used the last time they pitched.
and if you're at a live game,
It's kind of a different, like the hitters you can tell on TV more so than in person because in person it sounds the same off the bat because you hear the wood making contact. But in person is when you can see the pitcher and how it affects them more.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting.
how's it going, Frankie?
What's up, boys? Just another beautiful day. I woke up happy. I pitched great. Felt like a champion. I felt like Ricky Bobby, shake and bake. And then I tune on to Around the Bases, and all I hear is caca trash from Jay McLovin's mouth.
Hey, we do not say even Spanish words on here. Okay? I understand what caca means in Spanish, and it's still unprofessional. So you keep it, sir. You keep that
That's
same
fully
energy across
professional.
the board as you do with the rest of us for, okay? Keep that same energy.
Caca is fully professional. All right, it's fully professional. It's not like I used the curse
No,
word,
no,
sir.
no.
It's
I
fully
want that same
professional.
energy.
Shut up. It's fully professional.
See? That's what we got to deal with, man. Administration always trying to hold the man down.
Hold the man down, huh?
But no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure everybody's looking forward to this baseball season. I just have a feeling it's going to be so drastically different, man. Like you said, with the rule changes, with the ball changes, the big contract. I mean, there's going to be a lot of storylines. I feel like all throughout the year as we get ready for even when they get to the postseason or even the All-Star break. Frankie, let me ask you, man. You guys came out red hot. I mean, red hot last year. Got about the All-Star break, and things kind of slowed down. How do you see your Yankees coming out this year? Do you see that same red hot start?
I do, honestly. I really do see that red hotness starting off in the season, just because adding Carlos Rodon, and then you're not knowing who's going to be our fifth pitcher. Can it be Domingo Germán, or is it going to be Clark Schmidt? You don't know, but whoever's going to be that fifth pitcher is obviously going to try and show out to try and get himself into that starting rotation come postseason time. If we make it, I can't say we're going to make it because it's still way too early in the season. We're in a tough division, so you never know. But I do think we're going to come out red hot. Harrison Bader, he had a phenomenal season last year to the end when he came back from injury. So I'm really excited to see what he's going to bring to the team. Being there for a full year. I can't wait to see. And Jay, you seen it yesterday. I'd say Anthony Volpe. He's gonna, he's been showing out for the spring training, and I'm hoping and praying that Aaron Boone puts him in the lineup because the man is young and he's a stud. He hits balls great, no homo, and he's a good infielder, second base and shortstop. So there's some new faces that are going to be coming up in the Yankees pretty soon. So I'm really excited for it. The big question mark for me is Aaron Hicks and Josh Donaldson, also IKF. Are they going to, continue to slump like they did last year? Or are they going to turn it around and actually play actual baseball this year and turn it around to help the team win more games? I'm really hoping that they turn it around because all those players, honestly, they can be really good. I just don't know what's going on with their hitting, with their hitting status. They're not hitting the baseball. They keep getting striked out. They keep getting fly outs. So I don't know what's happening with them. But I'm really expecting a hot start for the Yankees because if the Yankees know the one thing you got to do to win in the AL East and against the Rays and the Blue Jays and the Red Sox and the Orioles, you got to come out hot and take an early advantage on that division lead. We seen it last year. The Yankees had about a 16 or no, I'm sorry, about a 12 or 11 game lead over the Blue Jays. And towards the end of the season, we had to fight for it because we ended up dropping to about 6 to 5 games. So if I'm the Yankees, you got to come out red hot and make sure that you take a good advantage on this division lead.
Yeah, I agree. One of the teams in my division that I'm really excited to see because, again, man, they were bottom sellers in the Rangers, and the Rangers got a brand new coach, which I really like. I like Bochy, and they really like, as we all know, they really revamped that whole damn rotation as well. So I'm really kind of curious to see how well they come out and how well they play this year. I mean, honestly, I'm a little nervous about it because they have a hell of a good rotation. Dustin, that's my surprise team. I think the surprise team for me is going to be the Rangers over last year. But Dustin, who would be your surprise team that you think is going to have a turnaround season?
I've already said on this show that I think Texas is going to find a way to win that division. Bruce Bochy is one of those managers when wherever he goes, he's just magic. And you saw it with the Giants when they won basically 3 World Series in 6 years just because they would win the World Series. The next year they would miss the playoffs. Next year they would get back to the playoffs, win the World Series, and that was kind of the pattern they were at. And this team in Texas is built very similar to a lot of the Giants teams that Bochy had when he was in San Francisco. He's got a strong ace, obviously, in Jacob deGrom. And then he's got 3 or 4 other good pitchers that are capable of having all-star caliber seasons because they have the potential to do that. And then when you look at back when he was in San Francisco, you had 1 or 2 like stars on offense, but then it was just a bunch of role players on that team that knew their place. Same thing with Texas. You got Marcus Semien and Corey Seager, who are your main all-stars, but then the rest of that lineup is more of a bunch of just role players that know their place on the team and know what needs to happen to win games.
Yeah,
You mind if I could just
yeah.
throw in my thought? Can I just throw in my thought on that for a minute? I mean, I do see you guys' point on the Rangers and potentially doing something. I realistically think that they're going to be third in your division, Jay, just because, yeah, they got new acquisition players and a new rotation going on there, but I don't think it's gonna affect them within the first year. I think they're gonna have to build together as a team, the chemistry and everything like that. It's gotta form up. So I think this year they're gonna do that, get third place, probably and possibly get into a wild card spot because you can still get a wild card spot in third place. I think that can
Yeah.
happen with them, but I think by next year maybe Dustin, that or shall I say Lindsey Scott Jr. for MVP because everybody here forgot your new name, but I think for next year maybe that they have a better chance at competing against the Astros for the division spot because you also got to look into effect the Seattle Mariners. They're really they're secretly a dangerous team. They really are. They gave the Astros a run for their money a lot in the regular season. Didn't happen in the postseason, but let's
Oh, I
not
mean,
forget
it kind of
The Astros had to go 18 innings in the
yeah.
playoffs with the Seattle Mariners. So
The only downside I see to Texas rotation and maybe even a little bit with Seattle is people don't understand how young that rotation is in Houston. I mean, the oldest
yes,
person in that rotation at this point is like 25, maybe 26. And I feel like DeGrom and those guys out there in Texas, I mean, they're not spring chickens. You know what I'm saying? So I think the Texas with that rotation, even though it's a great rotation, they're on a limited time frame to really
Yes.
make that rotation work. So they
Yeah,
don't
well,
have
here's
like a lot of time.
the biggest.
And I will say, hold on, Stat Guy, I will say this: that is a very, very, very bold, if not reckless, prediction on your part, saying that Texas is going to. You see them taking the division. That's kind of reckless on your part. But I'm gonna let you live it because I know you live life on the edge sometimes. So
Because
I'm gonna let you have that.
Yeah, the key to the Texas rotation, though, is something that a lot of people are forgetting about and something that a lot of people are not talking about. They have Jack Leiter, who is going to be in AAA probably sooner rather than later this year and has a shot to be in that rotation before the season is over. And what people also don't realize is Jack Leiter's teammate from Vanderbilt, Coomer Rocker, is also in Texas now. He is also in the Texas organization now. So you could potentially have Jack Leiter Jr. or Jack Leiter and Coomer Rocker added to that rotation by the end of the season. And if you do that, now you have a rotation of Jacob deGrom, Leiter, Rocker, Nathan Eovaldi, and John Gray, which is a much younger and better
Again,
rotation.
I want to caution. Again, the upside of Leiter and Rocker is there, no doubt about it. I'm not going to question that. But again, these are speculations on your part because minor league and major league aren't the same. So, just because they're this way there doesn't mean that always translates over to this direction. So, again, these are highly speculative, but there is good, backing information to make that speculation. I'm not arguing that, but let's not get overly carried away saying that you're already anointing them to be this great. I mean, they still got to prove it.
Well, I mean, and I kind of agree with Lindsey Scott Jr. for MVP. Is he's right. I mean, if you bring them in late into the season and you give them those couple of games of the MLB feeling, then that gives you the momentum for the following year to just feel comfortable with how the MLB works compared to how AAA and the minor leagues work with them. So that's why I also with him saying that, it puts in my mind like, okay, well, they're not, they're, like I said, they're going to be third place this year, and if they bring those pitchers in, or if they bring that pitcher in from AAA towards the end of the season, they have a better chance at competing for the division next year when they have a full team chemistry together, especially that starting rotation of the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, I just got, again, Leiter. If they do translate over, as well as what Stat Guy is saying, that is two young pitchers, but still the rest of that rotation is a little older. So I still had their window not being as promising as what they're making it out.
I mean, it's a little older. It's a little older, but only one guy's over 31.
What the heck just
Jacob,
happened?
Yeah, it's a little. I mean, you're right, Jay. The rotation is a little bit older, but Jacob deGrom is 34, going on 35, and Eovaldi's 31. Otherwise, John Gray is 28, Andrew Haney's 27. So it's not like the rotation is overly old. And then you got Jack Leiter 22, and then Coomer Rocker 23. So I mean,
DeGrom's really the Leiter.
DeGrom's really the only one.
Again, those are speculative because they're still in the minors. I want to see them in the majors doing that against major league hitters before I get on that bandwagon of those two specific pitchers. The rest of them.
Oh my.
No, I'm just saying. Look, if you want to jump on that bandwagon, Frankie,
it's not about. It's not about jumping on
the bandwagon. But
no, it's not about jumping on the bandwagon, Jay. Because if this was an Astros farm system, you would be saying how great they are. You can't wait for them to come up.
No, that's not true. I actually told you about Hunter Brown. No. I told you about Hunter Brown, who came up into the league and had a .86 ERA and 20 innings and a 1.06 WHIP and 20 strikeouts. So. I think Hunter Brown, who's come up in our farm system, has proven that he could be effective in this league. I have not seen that from Leiter as of yet. I have not seen that from Rocker as of yet. But the upside to them is looking good. I just want to see it in the rotation first.
Jay, you're not a Texas Rangers fan, so of course you're not going to see it out of them in the minors. You're not following the Texas Rangers minor league system.
I'll tell you what, it's like I hit you in the head with the nail, but I swear to God, you can't pull that fucker out for shit.
Well, you making no sense right now. For one,
I made absolute sense.
No,
it just
No,
didn't
you're
hit
not.
you. Give
No,
it a
it
few
hit me.
minutes. Let it
It hit
marinate
me.
in your
No.
brain for
See,
a
and
few
this is-
seconds. It has to hit the prefrontal cortex.
No, and this is where Chris, myself, even Stat Guy, this is where we come out and we try to tell you every time when you mention Astros, it's something good. But when we talk about another team, you're just like, well, I got to see more out of him. I got to wait until he comes in the league and see.
If you notice, he
yes.
said clearly that
Oh
he
my
saw the
God.
Rangers. He said the Rangers could beat the Astros in the division right off the rip. And I'm like, whoa. That's a reckless observation, Frankie. And if you don't think that's reckless, then maybe there's something wrong with you.
Why is it reckless? It's his opinion.
Because Chris, because
it's a
the
reckless
Astros,
observation to go from
because
dead
it's the
last.
Astros, Chris. Because they have a great minor league farm system, Chris. That's why. They got a great young starting rotation. That's why, Chris. Because the Astros are a great team, Chris. That's why.
Well, let's be honest. How much of your team is free agents, and how much of mine is? Answer that question, please.
Not that much. We really didn't have. We have about the same amount of freaking free agents you did, Jay.
No, I doubt that's incorrect.
Yes. Are you kidding me?
That's incorrect.
Are you in? Oh my Lord.
No, that's telling me flat out that's incorrect information.
The only big name free agent the Yankees had going on to this season was Andrew Benintendi.
Oh, really?
Jay.
Really?
Jay, this is the one reason why I'm not necessarily calling my prediction reckless. Okay? Houston scored 737 runs last year offensively.
Damn, that's a lot. I'm not gonna lie, that's a lot.
Okay? Houston scored 737 runs offensively. But they had the second lowest ERA in baseball at 3.02.
Actually, I believe it was a little lower. Our ERA was actually under 3, sir. Might want to recheck that stat.
I have it up right here, 3.02. The bullpen was under 3. The starters were at 3.16. So the combined ERA was 3.02.
That guy.
But
that's not the number I saw earlier.
But here's why this is not a reckless prediction on my part. The Texas Rangers ERA last year was a 5.46. How many runs did the Texas Rangers score last year?
Oh, I don't know, Stat Guy. Could you please give me that number? Was it enough to get to the World Series? I don't know, Stat Guy.
The Texas Rangers scored 3 less runs than Houston last year. They had 700.
That's probably true, but they gave up.
That's what I'm saying. The reason why Texas struggled last year was they had no pitching. That's what they addressed this year with Jacob deGrom. That's what they addressed this year with Andrew Heaney. That's what they addressed this year with Nathan Eovaldi. Now they have the pitching that can match with that offense last year. And that's why I don't think it is that reckless of a prediction, because they had the offense to compete with anybody last year. They were a top 10 offensive team in baseball last year. They just had one of the worst pitching staffs in baseball, which is the one reason they brought in Bruce Bochy, because he knows how to work a pitching staff.
Interesting. Okay.
It wouldn't be the first time we've seen a team go from last in the division to first in the division either.
It looks really good on paper and things like that. I just got to see it in fruition. I just got to see it. That's a lot of bullshit at the top, man. I got to see it in fruition, man.
I mean, look at
and we're going to see it. Hey, that's a beautiful thing. When the season starts this year, we're going to see it.
Yeah, look at the Seattle Mariners. The Seattle Mariners only had like 660 runs last year. They had almost 100 less runs than both Texas and Houston. But yet they won 92 games because they had good starting pitching and they had a good bullpen.
And if they had a better offense, they might have beat.
Houston. If they had a better offense, they probably could have won that division. They could or even beaten Houston in the playoffs if they had a better offense.
Because their pitching, because it wasn't like Houston was scoring a lot of runs on their pitching. They just couldn't score no runs on Houston's pitching.
Hey, I love speculation. Speculation is the best thing ever in the world. I love speculation. I think we live and die by it.
hell does he have on this? I don't know what the hell he has on his head, but
Notice what I have on what head?
Mad Dog Christopher Russo.
Oh,
He's on TV and he has something on his damn forehead, but who knows? Oh, all right, guys. Let's get the final thoughts. I have to go pick. I gotta go pick my son up. He got sick at work and needs a ride home.
oh yeah, absolutely, man. Definitely gotta take care of the boy.
Or I mean, if you guys want to keep going, you're more than welcome to close out the show.
Oh no, I gotta handle some business my damn self. I was just trying. I'm just not 100% sold on that ERA that stat guy gave us.
I knew that's what he was looking up. I knew that's what.
Man, listen, I'm not because I'm telling you. I monitored the shit out of the Astros team ERA all year, and matter I was commenting several times on it, and I've never seen the team ERA being above 3. Or I should say, let me correct that: the starting pitching ERA above.
Yeah, he said the team
I
ERA.
probably believe maybe in the relief.
You said team ERA, didn't you, Dustin?
Yeah, the team ERA was a 3.02. The Dodgers had the best.
Okay, then because I will tell you right now, our ERA from what I'm looking at here, and I got this off Fox Sports, was we had a 2.90 ERA, and we were second overall in the league.
Yeah,
so
behind the Dodgers.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So maybe they were encompassing the relief pitchers in there, so I can understand that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Texas, I think was ranked like 28th or 29th in Major League Baseball in ERA, but they were a top 5 offensive team.
He just doesn't.
You even put Texas in the middle of the pack ERA wise. That's a 90-win baseball team in Texas last year.
Why can't you just give it to Dustin, Jay? Like, he told you it's a 3 ERA, and you're just like, no, it's a 2.90 ERA.
It's a 2.90
ERA. Close to 3, though. That's close to 3, though. Like,
but is it 3, Frankie? But is it 3?
Jay, I swear to God. He's like, always got to prove his point. Always got to prove his point.
Oh, God. You know what? We got to this would be a nice time probably to end the show because right now I got about 7 really good inappropriate comments that I'm fighting really hard not to say on air. So I'm going to recuse myself from the situation.
Oh, all right. Well, Jay, you got any final thoughts that don't include?
Well, I tell you what, I got a lot of final thoughts. But we are under new administration, and Frankie is doing a hell of a good job keeping us all on track. So I'm not going to disrespect my new team leader and admin. I'm going to respect his wishes and that of the company. I will just say this: it's going to be a really good season. I fully expect to see lots of craziness, I think, throughout this season as everybody gets used to the rule changes, all these contracts, all these shifting of players. Like Dustin, I mean, like all of us know, man, there's going to be a lot of teams come out of the ground and are going to all of a sudden emerge as contenders. So it's going to be really, really good. I do look forward to seeing Frankie in the ALCS. I know we're going to be there. I know he's going to be there. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But at the end of the day, man, make sure you guys check out Frankie, what he's doing on Twitter at Unscripted Guys, all one word, man. And a hell of a good time. Appreciate y'all.
Dustin, you got anything?
Yeah, I do want to congratulate Trey Morgan from LSU on his historic achievement yesterday. In case you didn't catch the game, LSU beat the Southern Jaguars 18-4. And Trey Morgan not only hit for the cycle in 4 consecutive at-bats, but he did it in chronological order.
Wow.
He started with he had a single in the second, a double in the third, a triple in the fifth, and then a homer in the sixth.
Insane.
I saw a little bit of the game. I didn't see a lot of it. I was flipping through ESPN Plus, and was all kinds of college baseball on yesterday.
Yeah, he became the 14th player to hit for the cycle in chronological order, but just the third player in baseball history, or I should say college baseball history, to do it in 4 consecutive at-bats.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
impressive.
that's an impressive feat. No matter if it's college or pro, whatever the case may be, to be able to do that and then be able to do it in chronological. That I can't imagine what the percentage of that would be. You know, it's got to be like 1 in a million or something of that crazy nature. But
And four consecutive at bats is what is even crazy as well. Because a lot of times you see guys that maybe hit a cycle, but they might have a bat where they have a strikeout or a fly out or something. But to do it in 4 consecutive at bats, that's impressive.
that is.
Frankie,
Yeah, Chris.
you got any final thoughts?
Yeah, man. I just my bad. I just no, man. My final thoughts is just to take on what Jay said earlier. You know, baseball season's here. Everybody's gonna get ready to have a wild ride this year with the new league rules and everything like that. I'm not gonna take his take on the bottom feeders being the top, because that's basically saying the Reds are gonna have an amazing year, and we all know that's not possible.
Oh,
But
I wasn't talking about that. I was more hinted towards the Texas Rangers and such. But yeah.
oh, okay. He's talking. He's talking about more important teams above the Reds. I get it. But yeah, it's gonna be a phenomenal year. I can't wait. We have a couple more days left before the first game. If I'm not mistaken, what's today's date? The 23rd.
22nd.
The first spring
22nd,
training.
okay.
The first
It's
spring
2
training
days.
games are Friday, but most of the teams start Saturday.
Yeah. So I mean, hey, I'm still gonna watch, even though my team doesn't play until Saturday. I'm still gonna watch those 2 first games just because baseball season is back, and there's no better way to. Let's not forget, everybody plays everybody. So if you want to, see what your team is going to be dealing with in the regular season, this is the year where you literally have to watch every single game in the spring training and see what your team is going to, deal with potentially this year or potentially in the future. You never know. So other than that, that's all I got. Catch us tomorrow unscripted, at 7 p.m. Hopefully I'll swing by there. I couldn't last night because I have some wild animals that I like to call my kids.
Hey, that's how it goes, Frankie.
Make sure you go check out the new mobile app for ASAP on the Google Play Store, Amazon, and also Roku. I think it's ASAP under ASAP Sports, if I remember correctly.
ASAP Sports Network, ASAP Network, I believe is how
ASAP
it
Network.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, go check out that new app. I'm gonna try to find out some more information on that so we can let people know like when when shows get uploaded, because I'm not sure like how often they're uploading the new shows.
And we're also pairing up with Bet Us as well.
We Bet US. We've been with them for a few weeks now.
Yeah.
Go make sure you go check them out as well, and because they have a thing I think you get like 125% bonus or whatever if you use the ASAP. You get some kind of bonus if you use the ASAP link. So yeah, go check out Bet US. And we'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. for another episode of Around the Bases. And then today at 1 p.m. Eastern, we have the ASAP Afternoon Blitz. Is anybody doing a morning show today?
Chris, if anybody was doing a morning show, they would be doing it right now. Nobody does a morning show anymore. Everybody's just old and lazy.
Yeah. I don't know what happened with that. Was having one, but then it kind of went off again. But so hopefully we can get that back.
Ray was supposed to be in charge of the morning show. He was available Monday, Wednesdays, and I think he said Thursday or Fridays. I tried to run it one time, but nobody ended up showing up. I don't know what's going on with the morning show, and I'm not scared to say it live here, but it's ridiculous.
Yeah, my problem is I can do it some days. I can't do it all the time because I'm taking my son to work and stuff. But when I can jump on, I'll jump on if there's going to be one. But
yeah, if I wasn't on third shift, I'd be on it every day.
But all right,
yeah, I'm tired of third shift. Also, I'm getting tired of third shift. This third shift is pissing me off. You know how long I be standing on corners and shit? It's insane.
Third
shift tires. This third shift is tiring me out. I can't be wearing these high heels all the time. Damn it.
Oh,
Listen,
Well-
if you've never seen Frank in some high heels on a dance floor wearing a tuxedo, it looked like it's made out of a bed sheet. It is quite amazing. Let me be honest with you. It's
Made out of
freaking
a bed sheet. Jay, you know damn well I look good in that suit. Shut up.
Listen, I don't know if that was you or a walking rug, but it looked pretty good. It looked pretty
Hey,
good.
oh,
thank
man.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Like I said, join us today at 1 p.m. Eastern for the ASAP Afternoon Blitz. Hope everybody has a great day. We'll see you tomorrow for some more baseball talk.